welcome to Rad Pod and Chill. This is our mid-week recap of the Radicalized Truth Survives episode. We're going to be doing this weekly, and we're going to be discussing episode 9, which was so epic. I can't wait to kind of dive into that. But first, I just want to give a warm welcome to my beautiful co-hosts, Jim Stewartson, High Fidelity, and Sean, recovering from COVID, Connor.
That's right.
He looks better than last time.
Yes.
Last time he was just a giant virus.
Yeah, I still am a giant virus, but I'll hide this time.
Hey,
At least you're
seriously, how's your
transforming slowly
head?
back.
I'm glad you're not dead, bro.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for the comments also. It's very nice. Just the headache, man. That's the worst part.
Right.
The fatigue is weird, and then just like a constant, like a pressure headache. So we'll get through it.
We are so happy that you are triple vaxxed and that your family members are okay. And
That's right.
Quite frankly, everyone who watches this show knows that a large part of the genius of this show is the music and the art that you bring to it, as well as your knowledge. So we are just really, really happy that you're on the mend. And
Thanks, guys. I should be good in another day or so.
Sending good vibes that the pounding headache goes away. And you know, what is life without friends, right? So I just want to start there because, you know, money can't buy street cred. And when you have street cred, it means that people love you no matter what. And if you are doing unto others, you know, you get some of that back. And the gentleman and I just finished a phone call with someone who's high level, and he took that call because he loves me, and that love for me spills over to the people that I love. So I just feel like a bit of the golden rule is kind of inspiring me right now. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. And so with that, I would love Connor to cue up. Let's start with let's start with Chris Vickery's clip. We're going to be recapping the incredible interviews that we did with Brent Allpress, Chris Vickery, and Craig Unger. And if Connor has the Vickery clip, which I believe is number 2.
Blog post that somebody
let's start right there.
get linked to on Twitter, because right now Jim can't post on Twitter. And he listed on a bullet point list 10 different types of troll campaigns that have been launched against him that are different plays in like an information war playbook, like a character assassination. You know, pick one of these plays, run it, then grab the next team grabs one, then runs it. The next team grabs it, like a play in football. You know, one is a rushing play, one's a passing play, one's a Hail Mary. And this about 9 of the 10 ones that he listed there are exact same things that have been tried against me. Not ultimately successfully in the past, but I see the same things happening over and over to other people. And the common pattern is that we're all people that are vocally against the authoritarian fascist takeover of America. We happen to be people that know about the history of America. We understand what is wrong to do to others and what will lead to basically a terrible dystopian future. And we all seem to be targets of these same plays over and over and over again. And that really struck a chord with me that, oh my God, it felt out of the blue when these things were being tried against me. But seeing it happen to someone else, it's the same thing.
Yeah, man. So
did he say rushing or Russian?
Anyway. Either way. Hey, Stewartson, when you see how hard Vickery and Allpress are going to bat for you when you can no longer go to bat for yourself, kind of what goes through your head?
You know, just gratitude. You know, I'm glad that, you know, the people that I respect are the ones that are, you know, sticking up for me, the ones that, you know, have been doing a lot of the work and uncovering a lot of the you know, real harm that's been done. So, you know, just incredibly grateful to them and everyone else who has seen through this horrible shit, and you know, and sticks with us.
Yeah.
It's great.
Have we ever given a background on Chris Vickery, on who he is and what he did?
I just let people know he was, OSCENT researcher intelligence. But Chris, when one of my book parties for It's Complicated, Chris actually has come to both of them. I love that dude so much, and brought his daughter. He did do a recap. But if you have like a 45-second version of it, that would do him justice. Go for it.
45-second version is Chris Vickery went out there and he found unsecured cloud storage buckets that contained data for Cambridge Analytica that basically got Cambridge Analytica shut down in the UK. And he gave those to Charles Creel. And that's a lot of what that's kind of how the movie People You May Know opens near the beginning.
Yeah.
Chris is deep in this. Chris got kidnapped by the police in Santa Rosa, California.
Yep.
Chris has been trolled hard. Chris has been fired from jobs because of his involvement in this. Chris is on the side of democracy, and Chris is a good dude. So.
Yeah,
That's great.
Thankfully, Chris also has been reemployed, and I am so grateful that he is, on the side of justice, democracy, doing the right thing for our country. It's weird how unpopular that can be, and how, it's very funny because I post our podcast, I post all my investigative reports for Byline on my LinkedIn, because I'm all in, dudes. And it's so funny because on LinkedIn, as that's where everybody folds their hands and pretends they don't have a single opinion about anything in life. And,
that may be why I got kicked off 4 times.
And the thing is, I learned a really great thing listening to Nancy McLean in the Open Democracy Book Club. She did a book called Democracy in Chains. And she basically said that being disengaged right now is not an option. So if you're someone who's just still trying to pretend that Rome isn't burning, that we're not in an influence war, then I don't know what to say other than don't be a good German, because right now we can't afford it. It's literally, when we talk about, all hands on deck, this is the Titanic right now. And, we are heading toward, we're heading toward potential disaster, and we need everybody to be engaged. We also, because people like Jim, Hi-Fi, myself, we also need people it's enough years of this trolling stuff and this gang stalking stuff and all of these smear campaigns to people doing the work. We really do need people to stand up and see beyond it. I'm not saying do what Chris and Brent do, which they throw themselves in the fire every day on behalf of Jim, retweeting a lot of his work so people know why he has been the target. But please, don't fall for it again and scatter. We need our friends and allies right now, not only on a personal level, but because of what is at stake for democracy. So don't let these cheap tricks unsettle you from reality and knowing who is a good person in this war and who actually is on the side of the enemy. It's very clear to me, if you're endlessly attacking people doing the work of democracy, then you clearly cannot be on the side of democracy. And a lot of people say, oh, well, I just don't like the way they did this, so therefore I can voice that. Yes, you can. But as I've said in the past, put on a MAGA hat then. Go do the work of MAGA. Don't pretend to be somebody who's pro-democracy.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's the deception. It's the people who are pretending, who are LARPing as leftists. and Antifa and, you know, a bunch of, you know, people who are there to cause chaos.
That's right.
And, you know, one of the nice things about being on Twitter for the last week is I've been able to do a lot more sort of work and looking into all of this. And a lot of stuff has come to light. A lot. Like, you know, that explains almost everything.
Yeah.
And so all the people that, you know, did this, that destroyed my volunteer group, you fucking sociopaths. I I I I know what happened, and I am not standing for it.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
The question at this
we
point,
have a number of conversations going on, and it is in your best interest to fucking stop. Leave us alone.
No, yeah, I would say fairly warned be you, says I, at this point, because
are we
we got.
stopping at the lawyers or are we going to the feds? I say we go to the feds. Fuck
Well,
it. Let's go all the way.
It's not an either or, bro.
yeah.
We're doing it all.
Put it this
Fuck it.
way.
Let's do it.
The beautiful thing is that we have friends too, and our friends also have vested interests in seeing democracy survive as well. So, you know, I kind of like, I think we've talked about this before, where I looked at Project Alamo and the 100 people that, you know, that took money. You know, I get it. Like, times is hard and you got to pay off college loans, or maybe you really thought that, like, you know, Trump was a great guy and you wanted to be all in or whatever. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't want to think that people are just so amoral that they would just take money from, you know, people who are clearly corrupt, and do this type of soul sucking work. I know, Jim, you see the worst of it.
Of course they would. There's lots of amoral people, especially the ones who've been radicalized, right?
Yeah,
Like they've had the morality basically radicalized out of them.
yeah,
And so it doesn't actually matter what side they're causing conflict on. It's just about the causing conflict.
yeah,
And just one of the things that you know, the people who are playing both sides,
yeah,
oh my God, you
yeah.
fucking sociopaths. It's just, how can you live with yourself?
It just has to be
Because
so
Peter Thiel gives them a lot of money.
sucking, though. It has to be so soul sucking. How, you know, how can you look at, like, the future where we know what we have ahead of us, you know, which is a lot of work in the climate justice space, and, you know, there's just so much ahead of us that is so incredibly, you know, relevant and important, and so
You're trying to talk to people who have no conscience. You're trying to talk to people who have no morals.
but that's got to be
I
true.
mean, this is what trolls are, right? I mean, look at Gamergate.
Yeah,
How just absolutely abhorrent behavior that was, right?
yeah,
Look at the mass shooters that keep coming out of this movement. They want the death. They want the destruction. They hate. You know, that's why they were called an internet hate machine.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of this comes from the same swamp as Gamergate, right?
yeah,
Which didn't really have an ideological bent in the beginning. It wasn't really supposed to be about, you know, politics at all. It was supposed to be about, you know, like making games, you know, less woke or some bullshit like that. It was simply a reason to sadistically troll women
yeah,
for fun.
yeah,
That's what it was. And
yeah,
a bunch of these motherfuckers who are still doing it now, like, grew up with that shit, you know?
yeah,
Guys, your vocation or your hobby or whatever it is for you is disgusting,
yeah,
and your life is a fucking joke. You need to look in the mirror and get a real job.
yeah. At
A
the
lot of
very,
them do have real jobs.
well, you know,
Not
I
all
know
of
some of
them.
them do it for fun. Some of them
So,
do it for extra cash. I don't give a
yeah.
shit.
It is still disturbing. I mean, like, grow the fuck up, man. Like, we're not on B anymore, unless you still fucking are. You're probably on pole though out there.
So when
I mean, just
lived,
how do you spend your time, all your time doing that? Like,
well,
I'm just imagining like the fucking psycho that's out there, just like, what complete bullshit can I make up
yeah,
about this guy today? How can I go to a friend of his and lie about him and destroy his, like, what kind of person is that? It's just it
It's a
anyone
shitty,
who was like a
sad,
Bernie
beta ass,
bro and got
lame
pissed
person.
off and is like an angry leftist or whatever, fucking get over it, man. Are you are going to get us turned into a fascist theocracy? Is that
yeah.
really what you want? Is it?
Probably.
I do see a lot of parallels to addiction in this. And so I do know that when people finally bottom out, and I would think that there would be like a soul bottom in this, that there needs to be some sort of framework for them to get better. And, I don't know, like with addiction, people know when they hit bottom, and then they have various programs people can get into to reorient their life. And then what they do is they then try to practice better principles in all their affairs, right? So if you're somebody who's got like a soul bottom going on, and you want to get out of it, there is probably a way to do it. And don't, I think that one thing we've learned about people who come out of, say, the QAnon cult is the shame involved. I mean, I wish that they could just, jump past the shame and start just embracing doing good and making up for the pain that they may have caused people. I really believe that until someone breathes their last breath, that they're not without hope and promise. So I would like to think that even the people who are paid to be doing bad and disrupting the narrative and running malinformation campaigns on people and disinformation campaigns, I would think that within that group, there must be some people who would like to find a way out. And just know, if you're someone doing that and you want to find a way out, I'll fucking take your call. I'll talk to you. I'll see if I can help. I don't think that people who do this kind of negative work are beyond help, is what I'm saying. And so obviously that's just how I feel, but
They're not going to change unless they want to change.
well, but if they do want to change, they can give me a call and they can say, look,
Fair enough.
I got caught up with a bad crowd. I don't know how to get out of it. Now I'm afraid. They have compromising pictures on me. I'm worried. I did this, I did that. I'll take their call and try to figure it out. I take calls like that from all over the world, from people who actually are on the side of democracy, who are losing family members and don't know what to do and don't know where to go for the truth. So, but if you're hurting my friends and you wonder why you're blocked or you're unfriended or whatever, or unfollowed, it's because I love my friends. And so, don't expect to get a pat on the back for hurting the people that I love on Twitter. So I think we've covered a little bit of turf there, and I would like to now get Brent Allpress's clip, Connor, because I think Brent has identified in a very short few seconds what the root of a lot of the attacks on Jim are from. Our platform.
I think one key thing to reinforce is why would they go after Jim? And the key reason that I can see for someone very closely associated with the ex-General Mike Flynn, I should prefer to call him, is that that Jim has really ruined Mike Flynn's chances of taking on a political career by outing the fact that he plagiarized a theosophical New Age far-right guru who was apocalyptic. He edited out the words Archangel Michael from the prayer, but then on another platform, in order to defend himself, he said he identified with the prayer because it was about Saint Michael, that his namesake. So that's that find by Jim is very, very damaging to Mike Flynn because it completely dropped the mask on him.
How about that, Brent Allpress?
Oh, I just need to clarify for people in the audience who are asking what the hell's going on. We're discussing the sustained troll attacks that have been put upon Jim, getting him suspended again. And also now they're going after Heidi as well. So that's what we're discussing. And we're discussing the reasons why this is occurring. If I had to guess, it's probably someone connected to Mike Flynn or Eric Prince, especially given the fact that Tony Schaefer was in the fucking mix, right? So
yeah. Well, we don't know. Yeah, go ahead,
there's
Jim.
one particular fellow who's allied with Steve Bannon, who I will be glad to drop those receipts anytime.
So all I want to say is that my friends who have been trying to be helpful by DMing me what they're saying and whatever, I really appreciate them documenting it. I don't want to see it. One of my friends sent me a picture where I was giving you guys and Marty the heart, and somebody on Twitter had put me next to Adolf Hitler doing the same thing. And, I appreciated it, and it should be documented it because we will be using that for our files as we pursue our options moving forward. But it's disturbing, to say the least, to see it. And but even worse, in order to cast shade on me, one of your friends, LOL, digs up old articles that I did when I was a business reporter and cared about things like, regulation, taxation, and the bankrupting of cities and, people forming their own unions and whatnot, and tried to then pull an LLC that was just created by my business partner for my publishing company. She is a retired CPA who's the most brilliant person I know. And she has become an anarchist in her retirement. She's always been a fiscal conservative and very brainy, obviously being a CPA. But she and I are putting out some books this year that I think are going to be very disruptive and game changers. But what they tried to do was frame me to look like I'm not who I say I am. And anyone who's been following me for the last 5 or 6 years has a pretty good sense of who I am. And if they're unclear, 220 people who bought my book, It's Complicated, will tell you that I was a fox blonde. That gave me terrific insight into knowing what was coming down the pipeline for the 2016 election. I am who I am, and I don't try to pretend otherwise, but really what I am is a mom very concerned for our democracy. And I'm so grateful we started this show because a woman's voice, 3 incredible researchers' voices who understand this world. We bring in experts from around the world who fill in a lot of the information that we, also need to understand to do our job. We've created this incredible platform for people to see what's really going on. And of course, we knew we were going to be trolled. Of course, we knew that this would occur. What I didn't know was that it was going to be at the high financed levels back of 2018 when they wanted to capture the midterms. So now we have the 2022 election coming up. They want to capture the Congress for the GOP, aka the death cult that we have watched this party disintegrate into. So, it feels very personal, and it is, and it hurts to see them try to cast shade on people that I love, but it's also part of a far bigger picture and a bigger network of authoritarians trying to stamp out anybody who's telling the truth about what's happening currently in this corrupt money laundering, fiefdom that these folks have tried to, capture for themselves. So we know what it is. It ain't fun, but Brent Allpress, man, in just a few seconds was like, Jim ruined Michael Flynn's chances. And that's
Yeah,
really,
lots of things are going to ruin Michael Flynn's chances. Mainly the fact that he is the worst traitor in the history of the United States, and people will figure
Don't
that
hold
out
back, Jim.
eventually.
Tell us how you really feel.
But
How-
yeah, anyone who's here knows how I feel about Mike Flynn. Mike Flynn knows how I feel about Mike Flynn, and without a doubt, Mike Flynn is deploying his some of his troops in our direction. So
Ooh, are we fighting digital soldiers again?
we are fighting digital soldiers,
Again.
but these are
They're
the
so
sneaky
bad
ones.
at
These
this.
motherfuckers, they sneak
Oh
in
yeah,
the
the
back door.
infiltrators and
well, I do
No
feel
fucking
bad
statues,
for people who are
Sharon.
caught
I don't
up.
want any fucking statues. That's for dead people.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sharon said we need a statue of
Hey,
I'm
this
gonna make a
person.
statue of Jim in the nude.
No,
Jim.
that's what they do for dead people. I'm not dead yet.
Hey. Jim broke news. I retweeted one of your Substacks yesterday. I think it was yesterday, and I think it's already been like, 1,000. I mean, the numbers are staggering, of support for your work. And I believe it was the son of the Oath Keeper who
Yeah,
pointed
Dakota
out that
Rhodes.
his dad was working for Mike Flynn and Eric Prince. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean the whole interview is amazing. This kid is smart and moral, and it's incredible that he comes out of Stewart Rhodes. He's a good guy who has a lot to say. He was basically his own dad's sidekick while he went running Oath Keepers operations and shit. And he says at the end of this interview, after January 6th, if they were successful, everyone was going to be reporting to Mike Flynn and also Eric Prince. That Stewart, meaning his father, was going to be working for Mike Flynn and Eric Prince. So listen, this kid was there. He knows. Stewart Rhodes was one of the main guys out there,
Right.
planning the fucking attack on the Capitol, like the leader of that, right? Joe Biggs was another guy. Like this kid knows what's going on because he was in the center of the operational component of it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
says that Mike Flynn and Eric Prince were basically running the show and ready to take over when the insurrection was successful.
Yeah.
So, as I think I mentioned 7 or 8,000 times, Eric Prince and Mike Flynn think they're going to be the 2024 ticket for the new fascist theocracy of America.
Right.
That is the fucking plan. And everyone needs to understand that Ron Watkins was not fucking Q. No Q existed. It was Mike Flynn who created a cult so he could do this shit. Exactly what he's doing right now. And why do you think they're attacking me and attacking us? Because we're willing to tell that truth.
Yeah.
And I know the billionaires that are paying for it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
here we
we
go.
don't even know if they're really billionaires at this point. They seem to.
Nah, it's probably fake.
Well, they seem to be networked with so many truly awful people. I remember I watched a whole bunch of Putin documentaries when this whole thing started. And it's like, imagine how many oligarch guns he has to his head. Like, these aren't sweethearts. You know what I mean? So yes, so I find this, I'm really enjoying the Rad Pod and Chill, because I'm not worried about producing the show right now. Not worried about a guest in the waiting room. Like, we're just able to sort of just kind of chill and enjoy our friends here. I do want to ask you, Connor, if you're there, I would like you to run the Craig Unger clip for those who have not yet had a chance to see episode 9. We did an interview with veteran investigative reporter Craig Unger, Vanity Fair, and written 5 books on various versions of GOP Kompromat, but he's very, very dialed in on Trump Russia, the history of Trump and his Russian. One of the things I really love, so let's just roll that about American Kompromat, is that you really break things up into 3 very clean sections. You show Trump and all of the Russian ties and the handlers and what you can really evidence, happened to him, and how and which ways he may have either been compromised or a useful idiot, or however it occurred. Then you get to the Praetorian Guard and you show the religious zealots who've been remapping our judiciary, which I think is a very incredible component of that. And then the third part of it is you show the greed and the sexual predilections of the people in Trump and Epstein and, Maxwell's orbit. And that, I think, is an essential framework to understand what our country has endured in recent years and what we are still battling right now. And if you can speak on that for our audience, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Money, sex, and power.
There you go.
What more is there? No, I think it's very scary what's happening now. I mean, it's just really extraordinary. And I part of it is, what was frustrating to me about the book is I ended it saying that there's a train wreck coming. And I didn't know the specifics. I finished it in November, so I didn't know the specifics of what would happen with January 6th. But even that, we can say, I think pretty safely, is that is just the beginning. And what I'm trying to do now is really to drop back and look at what's been going on with a sense of history and where, because I think you have to look back in order to understand what's going to happen going forward. And increasingly, what I start to see, the Republican Party is it's really the Confederacy 2.0.
Yeah, the Confederacy 2.0 is what he was saying. And God, I thought that was so insightful.
So Craig Unger is a bucket list man. That was amazing. I was just to be able to talk to somebody who's done that much work to really, really understand the basically the Russian infiltration that started, after the Cold War or during the Cold War and has continued all the way through. And, Trump is just a fucking mid-level Russian mafia boss. That's all he is. And he's been that way for 40 years, and we put him in the fucking White House, and it's amazing. It's amazing that actually happened in the real world.
Yeah. Craig.
Well, if you read American Kompromat, right, he breaks it up into 3 parts. And the first part is the Russian, compromising of Trump.
Yeah.
The second part is Opus Dei and the compromising of the FBI.
Yeah.
And then the third part is the Russians and the compromising of Silicon Valley.
Yes. Well, also very much the human trafficking element of it,
Epstein, yes, very much the.
And how there was all of these same little girls in Trump and Epstein and Maxwell's orbit, the same thing. And we definitely can't ignore that. And more of that is, I think, going to continue to be revealed over time.
Well, I'm not a criminal mastermind, but if I was, one of the things I would do would be to compromise my enemies or just assets I wanted in sexual situations, particularly with underage women.
Yeah.
Girls, not women, sorry, underage girls.
Yeah.
And I would video record it.
Yeah.
And as we all know, what did Epstein do?
Yeah, they captured a ton of documentation. Yeah, I do want to give a plug for Craig because, people come on our little show and we get big people coming on this show. And so buy some books, friends. American Kompromat just came out in paperback, I think today or yesterday. So that just happened. So buy Craig Unger's book and read it, American Kompromat. If you're not a reader, get the Audible version, which is fabulous. I have both. And really, really arm yourself with the kind of knowledge that if you do still have somebody who's not quite all the way in the cult, but they think that the, Trump Russia is that quote unquote hoax. Well, first of all, we got the Mueller report. If anybody reads it, you will learn that it is not. And second of all, American Kompromat does the most incredible job of showing the long game and how every time Trump came back from Russia, he was taking out op-eds, doing the business of trying to like get NATO broken up, pretending that he'd met with Gorbachev, which he hadn't. And, he was one of only two people, real estate developers in New York, who allowed entities, shell companies, anonymous buyers to buy into his properties. And when they were looking for a most wanted, Russian criminal, all over the world, they find him in, for one of Trump's apartments. So, I mean,
it's obvious. And hold on, I
did not have to do the job that should have been done by the massively funded, billionaire networks. It shouldn't have to be us, but it is, because we're in an influence war, and because part of how an influence war works is the flooding the zone with shit. It's the lying is the message. It's the theater craft, the fog of unknowability. Put in all those words and you'll see that what happens is to try to make truth irrelevant. Well, here at Radicalized, truth survives, and we mean it. Whatever we got to do. Jim has to move to Substack, fine. We're going to have to start putting Jim and all of his content on our website, fine. We will do whatever we have to do. Hi-Fi may have to get another 20th, bootleg Twitter account. Actually, Hi-Fi, it's interesting because you said it's a bit more peaceful, right?
Actually, yeah, I'm feeling great off of Twitter. The people I want to look at, I can search. I just type in their username. I've got a list in my head of about 75 people I look at on a relatively daily basis. And I don't have to interact with anybody. So,
And Jim, how is it for you? It's got to be a bittersweet.
There's nothing sweet about it. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm, I got nuked from Twitter because of a bunch of fucking trolls.
Yeah.
Who inauthentically suspended me, and then Twitter's dumbass AI ban evasion bullshit tripped me up when I did not break the rules. All of you dumbasses out there saying I broke the rules by logging into another account are fucking stupid. It does not say that at all. It doesn't.
Hold on.
Why would I do that? It says it right
and technically,
on my
Jim is
home
correct. If you read the letter of the rules, Jim is correct. He did not break the rules. Hey, somebody brought something up in chat. I got to address though real fast. Somebody said we're missing the IAM cult stuff under Russia. Okay.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Well,
Saint Germain, what? Hold on. I gotta address this. I literally was catfished by an IAM cult member on LinkedIn, and I have it documented where I searched this person, found the person, realized it wasn't an actual picture, traced the people attached to this account back to a videography company in Los Angeles, and then found out that they were IAM cult members pushing the Great Reawakening.
IAM's is just an old fucking cult that was created out of Blavatsky and Alice Bailey and all those weird ass theosophists that basically just created a bunch of a jumble of quasi racist woo woo propaganda that anyone could hang any sort of cultic doctrine on. So one example is Elizabeth Clare Prophet,
Yeah.
who started Church Universal and Triumphant with her husband. They came out of the IAM cult. The IAM cult, the real one, was called the Mighty IAM, and it was in the 30s. And it came up at exactly the same time as the American Nazis, and it had exactly the same agenda.
Yeah.
And out of that, Elizabeth Clare Prophet's husband came out. They got married and started the Church Universal and Triumphant. The Church Universal and Triumphant is the church that Elizabeth Clare Prophet was in when she wrote that speech that Michael Flynn plagiarized at a fucking church.
Right.
So you get back to almost all of this shit. It goes back to Russian propaganda trying to infiltrate our fucking, system. And we
Yes.
have got to do a better way of like weeding this shit out. This is
Yes.
crazy enough
Yes.
already.
Yeah.
I hope that answered the question about IAM. And
Well,
if
the
not,
comment,
I'm happy to go on forever. I know a lot about it.
the comment,
I'm
the
just
comment-
waiting for countermeasures against the Russian Orthodox Church because that's going to be fun.
Well, so the comment that so first of all, shout out to our lovely friends here. We got Sharon in Louisiana. We got Bonnie, I think maybe in Philly somewhere. We have Marie, who's in Paris, getting us the questions that she's curating. Apparently, Aiken Drum said that people underestimate the impact of the IAM cult and space cult theologies, Gaia Blue Avian. So he's basically saying that there's just sort of a general, lack of
It's amazing.
awareness.
Yeah, I
But
mean, you're right.
yeah,
Like it
yeah,
is suffused into a lot more than people realize. Like
yeah,
there's in the evangelical community, it's actually very substantial.
yeah,
Like, and it's a weird crossover, but it's the same shit.
yeah,
If you look in evangelical sort of events and stuff, you see people with I am shirts. It just says I am on the front.
yeah,
And that's how these guys start, get in. They start with this one catchy, empowering phrase, I am whatever. Turns out what that means is I am God.
yeah,
That's when you get back around to the point of it, is to make you think that you yourself are some sort of supernatural being. And that is, in the Voltaire quote, the absurdity that allows you to commit the atrocity.
yeah. So I want to alert our friends that there is a troll in the chat, and just don't give him oxygen. I see that our troll on our team is actually doing his usual trolling self, and
What?
I'm,
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm asking my darling, dearest co-host to not troll during whatever. I don't
I'm
care.
just being honest.
I don't care. Hey. So there's a number of things that people just brought up. Actually, let me see if I can.
Who's a bigger danger? That was a good one. Who asked that one? Who's a bigger danger in 24? Trump, Flynn, or someone like DeSantis? My answer is yes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you've got DeSantis auditioning as little Mussolini. Clearly Flynn is trying to become the Messiah, and again, I think Jim probably did destroy that. And you know how I know that Brent Allpress is right? By the number of people defending Flynn when Brent that, like, all of a sudden here comes the bot army or whatever they are. Maybe they're just, true believers in Flynn, but I don't think so, because you're talking about a guy who has just lost, fired by multiple presidents, disgraced, lied to the FBI, would get a conviction. Uh-oh, here comes Jim. He's going to go off.
Here comes Jim's phone. Boom.
I do want to say that somebody just brought up that her concern, I believe Cheryl's concern, is that the wellness community is being mind fucked. And what we recommend you do, if you haven't already, is watch episode number 5 with Kat Gellin and Charles Creel, where we talk specifically about that. They have a film called Disinformed. Do whatever you need to get it. It's not in the States yet, but I think that it is going to be on PBS in different countries, and I think it's accessible on some German platforms. So try to watch it because it's very, very important. If you have friends who are in the wellness community, who get their information from chiropractors, not to disparage chiropractors, but we have gotten information from some of our friends that that the people that they're dealing with are taking them away from the free vaccine and toward, buy my supplements type deal. And that would be a grift. And we do still have a pandemic, raging throughout this world. So, we here on the show, we believe in science. We recommend to believe in science as
We
well.
recommend
Science
science.
is awesome. I love science. Chemistry's great.
Safety tip: if you have woo on one side to make your medical decisions, and you have science on the other side, science.
Yeah.
Do that. Do the science one. It's amazing. It works
I
really
was
good.
very close for a few years with a physicist, and he had worked on a project that had where the main guy, Kip Thorne, had won a Nobel Prize. It was in black holes, and I would just find all these conversations just super fascinating. But I asked him, when did people stop believing in science? Like, what really happened? And he said, after the bomb was dropped, it allowed this opening for people to be so freaked out and so frightened about the potential of what we can do in our world and the bad things that can happen. And it just allowed a gaping hole for bad actors to come in and just freak people out about it. And fast forward to, I don't know, I think I was doing some research a couple of years ago where I found, Robert Mercer's money paying for the anti-vax movement, paying for people to be part of the groups that are protesting against the stay-at-home, recommendations. And again, whenever you can put fear in people, you can actually manipulate how they respond and who they'll vote for. And so there has been a
Fear
lot of
is.
fear for sale.
Yeah. Well, I mean, cultic influence, right? Like radicalization is ultimately, a fear. It's a fear-based trauma, right? Like the thing that freaked me out and got me started on this whole thing was going into QAnon and just seeing the amount of fear porn, just racist fear porn and fear porn about, 800,000 kids and just pounding these phobias into people's psyches and eventually just completely distorting their entire view of the world.
Yeah,
None of it works without fear,
right.
because fear is the most powerful emotion for a reason, right?
Right.
Like if you're in the fucking jungle and you see a saber-toothed tiger, right? Like fear is a good thing. Like
Yeah.
get the fuck out, right?
Yeah.
And so they weaponize that
Yeah.
to traumatize people over and over in their own minds, dissociate them, and eventually it becomes coercive, and it ends up being brainwashing.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
Okay, I need to address the chat again. Okay, Aiken Drum is going on about Duganists and occult space, and
Yeah.
okay, so Aiken Drum, what I'd like you to understand is a lot of this is based on Eurasianism, right, which is a Russian philosophy of separation, genetically, racially, whatever. Dugin pushes that a lot in his work. The other thing is, in the occult space, if you read into something called cosmism, COSMISM, that is by a fellow named Fyodorov, and that was that Russia will bring a new period of enlightenment to the world, which
Right.
falls in line with Steve Bannon's Fourth Turning,
Yeah.
Peter Thiel's Dark Enlightenment, the dark web, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So if you look at the theory behind a lot of this, there is a continuous thread of it. It's a network of
I need you to stop being so smart for a second and look at my moss mug, damn it.
You got the moss mug? Yeah.
The moss mug.
Sorry.
I
mean, at the heart of it, I'm an IT guy. Jim is technically an IT guy, even though he's a game guy, but it's IT.
Well, all I know is that there was a period of time.
Don't ever call me an IT guy, bro.
You're an IT guy, bro. Sorry.
No, I don't think so.
There was a
You
period.
don't want me to be your IT guy, trust me.
No. A different, totally different type of technology. Like I'm a network designer. You're an in real life network designer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Maria, I was about to bring up the third Rome, Moscow.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's all the same. It's all the same Eurasianism shit. Like Dugan is super into it, and it goes back to the old version of the Orthodox Church, which is super duper fucking weird and fascist and sort of goes back to serious olden fascism.
You got monarchists in there. You got it all. I want to give a shout out to Jess and Stacy and Angela, who also turned up here. Thank you so much for supporting the pod. All your positivity goes a really long way right now. So we do want to thank you for that. So we only have a few minutes left because we have to be mindful of Connor's COVID recovery and don't want to tax him too much. But there were a couple breaking news items today that I thought were interesting. First of all, I would like to just remind people that in Arizona, while they were manufacturing, forging documents on election fraud, they also were paying teenagers to operate a domestic troll army to print Trump propaganda and anti-democratic propaganda. So I bring that up because what occurred in 2016 is occurring once again on steroids. We're seeing it in real time. And I just want people to be very mindful that these operations are running both foreign and domestic, and it's pretty easy to sniff out a fraud because they're in there shit stirring and lying. So that's my one contribution. There's some January 6th stuff, and Hi-Fi, you got some news.
I have some news. Shit.
You have some. There's a Supreme Court decision that I think is worth noting.
They're going to get his papers.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Papers.
Yeah, so the Supreme
Thomas
Court decided,
no.
They basically said, up yours, Trump, buddy.
Which is weird, right? Like,
well, no, because what they're doing is they realize that Trump's coup has failed, and they're feeding us Trump while attempting to maintain their hold on what power they do have.
They don't give a fuck about Donald Trump. Are you kidding?
Oh no, he's done.
Fuck. They got 6 out of 9 Supreme Court justices are
Catholic. Opus Dei, Leonard Leo.
Opus Dei is running the fucking court.
Like, we need to expand the court. Or I don't know.
We need to do a lot of really groundbreaking things right now because we don't have time, and expanding the court is one of the options, and that's a very important one, particularly for women who actually would like to have the option to have proper health care when they are dealing with situations, for example, having the right to have an abortion. Right now, if you wish to have access to proper health care, this is not your Supreme Court. So I think that's very, very important. I really love the fact that, that there was talk of a filibuster carve out. You know what I mean? Like, we got to start just kind of thinking beyond what has been business as usual. And Jim has been screaming that for a year. He's been saying, take off the fucking white wigs and get down and start doing some mud wrestling to save our democracy. And that is, here on that. Somebody did ask what the name of Creel and Kat's film is, and it's dis/informed, all one word. They did People You May Know. watch that film first, which you do have access to, not the rom-com, but the documentary. It'll have kind of like a shadow of a church on the poster.
2020 Charles Creel, Kriel.
Yes. Anything that Jim would like to say, since Jim is not able to see and feel the love that you send on Twitter all the time. He is seriously just dealing with the sociopaths who continue to attack him. So I don't know, Jim, if you're aware that every day someone's like, when's he coming back? I need his information. You know, where do I follow him? And is there anything you'd like to say to people?
Look, I am coming back one way or the other. However,
that's my boy.
Like, whatever I have to fucking do is going to happen, because that was bullshit. I had 30 million impressions a month. I had 60,000 totally organic followers.
Yeah.
And I am going to get my fucking voice back on Twitter. I'm not going to let you motherfuckers win. Just FYI. Also, I think basically they're just backed up in the stupid queue going through ban evasion appeals, and they will get to mine and they will unfucking suspend me. But in the meantime, I am coming back. And all you motherfuckers out there, like, just wait.
Preach, brother. Preach, brother. Let it out, brother. That's why we do this.
We have plans.
Hey,
we do have plans.
We do have a little something that I'd like you guys to give 30 seconds on. We have from Jessica, Fuentes and Patrick Casey being subpoenaed. But what I want to hear is your comment on Fuentes, because you guys watch all this shit. I try to see as little of it as possible, but even I saw what he did recently, and I know that these guys try to get their street cred by being truly, truly awful. But having him subpoenaed, what does that tell you?
I hope that he and Michelle Malkin have all their financial records in order.
Okay, and Jimmy?
Who are we talking about?
Nick Fuentes got subpoenaed.
Nick Fuentes, Groypers, bro. Donald.win.
I have spent a lot of time on Nick fucking Fuentes, Groyper dipshit, who is in bed with Paul Gosar, Nazi Slender Man himself.
Yeah.
That
never gets old.
Who named themselves the America First Party because that's KKK and the American Hitler Party's slogan. Fucking Fuentes is just out there just doing straight up like anti-vax combined with replacement theory.
Really?
Right? So remember.
Yeah.
Oh, Jim froze up. I will say this. The thing that pisses me off a lot about Gosar, he ruined Attack on Titan. Like, I actually kind of like that anime. It was enjoyable. It was weird. It was twisted, but it was fun.
Yeah. Well,
he ruined it.
These guys will try to co-opt anything. You know, that Ali Alexander standing in front of Johnny Cash giving the finger, that pissed me off, because if we know anything about Johnny Cash, he was cool as shit, and he would not be on the side of the fucking, you know, MAGA, whatever, crap. So,
you know who's going to be really busy soon? Is Baron Coleman. Baron Coleman is the attorney for both Thomas Schoenberger and Ali Alexander. Yeah. So that's going to be fun.
Godspeed. Hey, did we lose Jimmy? Are we going to be saying goodbye? Are we going to try to wait to give a proper send-off here? Let's see if he comes back.
Oh, I think Sean needs to roll, and Jim looks like he dropped.
Well, okay, so on behalf of Jim, on behalf of Sean, on behalf of Hi-Fi and moi, thank you so much for kicking it with us tonight and being our friends, and all the loving, kind words that you've had for Sean about getting well from COVID, and the kind words you've had for Jim for having to deal with all this kind of mind fuckery. I love you guys. We can't wait to see you when the next episode drops, and more shall be revealed from there. But thank you so very much. Have a beautiful and blessed evening. Ciao. All right. Woo. Ciao, ciao. Bye, my friend. Bye, Sean. Thank you